Good evening and welcome back to Irons United's YouTube channel. We've just witnessed, I don't really know how to explain this, a horrible defeat to Newcastle, to the sinking ship of Newcastle, and we've been beat 3-2 at home. Really disappointing result. Unfortunately, I was really confident going into this game and actually predicted some stupid result for a 4-0 win for West Ham. So how much will I eat my words? Definitely. Yeah, tonight we're joined with someone new, and his name is Alf. Alf, how you doing, mate? You okay?
Yeah, good, mate. Good.
Yeah, thanks for joining us tonight. Remember, guys, we are live, so make sure you comment below, and we'll try and get some questions in, etc. But this is only going to be a quick review anyway, because we don't really want to go on too much about it. But Alf, what were your thoughts on team selection?
Well, okay, I think we're missing Noble and we're missing Lanzini, definitely in the middle of the park. Coyote, I'm not sure if he should even be starting, really. But apart from that, I think Arnie up front, yeah, I'm happy with that. But Antonio, I don't think he should be starting. I think if we're going to go for somebody like Antonio, I think we should be playing Cheetah instead. That's just my thoughts, really.
See, to be honest with you, Alf, I'm exactly in agreement with you. I totally believed, especially after the midweek result against Arsenal, that they were saving Chicharito or giving him some game time in preparation for today. So when I seen the team selection, and so I think some people, I was heavily surprised that he wasn't starting, because this guy is a prowess up front. He scores goals. He's not had a run of games really for our club, and he's still got 3 or 4 goals for us. Yeah. And I thought to myself, playing alongside a confident Arnautovic, and you know what? If we go into the first half and we think about some of the chances that Antonio had, if that was on the end of that and Chicharito was on the end of that, they would have been in the back of the net. Yeah,
absolutely. I just don't think he's that comfortable with the ball at his feet, or dealing with any crosses or heading it. Yeah, he put in a couple of runs, but I always think he's a bit of a bull in a china shop. He's kind of running but without purpose, really, and sometimes luckily it comes off for him, but a lot of the time, it's just poor. So and I still think you've got to question his fitness, really, because halfway through the first half he looked spent, and then you question, well, why is Moyes keeping him on to the second half, and delaying a sub, in that case. I don't know. I just don't think we should be playing him at the moment.
Yeah, I think you make again another valid point, because I think to myself, you see the starting lineup and you see Antonio up front, and he's not a striker. Yeah, he's been doing well. No. He done reasonably well in the few games that he played up front recently when we got some decent results. But he's still not a striker, so he can't help but feel disappointed at the fact that we've got 3 strikers on the bench and they're not even starting. On top of that, we had Ayew return to the team and Kouati return to the team. How did you rate their performances today?
Well, Kouati, I'm sorry, Chick, I didn't. I didn't rate his performance at all. I think his passing was really poor. I think some of his positional play was really poor, and I think both him and Obiang in the middle just had a poor game in general. But Ayew, I think, was playing out. He had a role to play. And he was playing out of position a lot of the time, so he was receiving the ball. He wasn't making good passes. I think he had one decent cross the whole first half. Missed the penalty. Yeah, he scored, so you could say, oh well, he scored, and he's our top scorer and all that. But actually, if you analyse his game, it is really poor. So I'm not an Ayew fan right now. Again, as a sub, possibly, but not as a starter.
I think the thing that's really confusing is the fact that before Bilic went, that Ayew was he was the player that showed the motivation and determination to run around the park. Now, what I can't fault Ayew for, because I did think he ran off his socks, but I think he did run around like a headless chicken a lot tonight. Today, which is unfortunate.
I think he lacks pace as well. He lacks pace, because there's quite a few times where we were on the counter attack and he had the ball and he was easily caught by Newcastle players running back. But there's one, I think it's in the second half, he was, clear on a counter-attack. They had about 3 players and he was just easily caught, and I thought, well, you're not running freely here.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, if we go into the first half, straight away, what a great start. 5-6 minutes into the game, the ball finds its way to Arnautovic through a mistake from Newcastle, and Arnautovic has a lot to do, Alf.
Yeah, he's great. I mean, he's on fire. Again, he along with Masuaka can hold their head up high, for for this match, and also all the previous matches as well, for the last 3 or 4 matches. You know, they're the ones who've been creating, they're the ones who've been shown desire. And Arnie, again, you know, he had work to do, but you know, he did it. You know, he's clinical.
Absolutely.
So it was great.
And it was a great start. And at that point, I thought, right, we've got momentum. Here we go. We're coming up against a team that are struggling. This is going to be heading to the scoreline that I predicted, because it's 5 minutes in and your confidence up straight away. But within 5 minutes, we gave away, what, 2 free kicks from the same distance. Again, I think that's something that, as West Ham, that we are not disciplined in, is we have a foul and then we do it. We've done it several times this year. Within the same minute, we make the same mistakes, but twice over in the same minute. We've done it against Arsenal. The ball came in, Walcott had the chance for the header, he hit it wide, and then it came in again and no one marked the player, and it went across and they got the goal. And today it happened again.
Yeah, you know what? This is exactly what was happening last season, and this was happening, you know, all this season as well. You know, we either scored a goal or we, you know, concede a goal, and then we're under the cosh, and we're just really poor at the, you know, either conceding free kicks in dangerous areas or not being able to defend against them. You know, I remember a game last season. I actually took my lad to see West Brom, and we were, you know, we went 1-0 down, I think, and then we came back 2-1. And it was in the closing minutes of the game, and I could see that a ball was going to come across. And about 3 minutes before they scored at West Brom, I knew that we were going to concede, and it was exactly the same today. I knew we were going to concede, you know, and it was just.
You always think to yourself, like, you hear that, what is it, third time lucky, but we're giving teams 2 or 3 chances at the same thing. It's like, you wouldn't be surprised if we gave away a penalty, they missed it, we give away another penalty. That's the way that currently West Ham are playing. We're making too many individual errors, and that's something Moyes has commonly said. We move into the game, and then, I mean, we're 15 minutes into the game. The game's totally taken a bit of a kind of weird change, and then Newcastle were on the attack and they're building their confidence, and then they hit the bar from Dwight Gale. I mean, the boy is young, agile, fast, and an interesting striker. A striker I don't particularly mind, but he does well to shake off his defenders, and bang, he hits the shot off the bar. And well, I mean, and to be honest, again, they hit the post straight after that. What, about 10-15 minutes later, Richie hits the post again.
Post twice, crossbar once in the match.
It seems to be a rerun of last year when we played Hull, and the post to the crossbar was going to get the man of the match again. But
I mean, they were definitely on the offensive, and we were on the, you know, defensive there, and you know, we just weren't getting hold of the ball in midfield. And you know, even though we've been playing fantastically well the last 3 or 4 games against the, you know, the better teams, I'll say in inverted commas, and I hate doing that, by the way, but there you go. You know, it's you know everybody's saying, you know, it's not against the Chelseas or the Arsenals, you know, that we have to, you know, get points again or prove ourselves. It's all the teams around us that we have to beat and get results again. And we failed today, and you know, that's the nuts and bolts of it. We failed, you know, but we failed with you know, not lackluster performance, because I won't say we didn't try, because I saw a lot of effort out there, in all fairness, amongst the players. I just think we lacked a lot of quality, and you know, barring, you know, the left side and Arnie up front, I think all over the park we were losing possession, we were losing the battle in midfield, and they were just kept on coming on to us. And the last 3 or 4 matches have been exactly the same. And Moyes, to his credit, he's realised this, and he has said this lots and lots of times, that we're just not retaining the ball, and our counter-attack forward play just hasn't got the quality for us to score more goals, really.
Well, absolutely. I mean, we went into the half-time 1 each. I think it was 1 each. And to be honest, it was kind of, I mean, that was just before Antonio had his clear header, unmarked header. Great ball whipped in, and I do think, and I don't know if we've mentioned it already, but for me personally, if Chicharito had been on the end of that, that would have gone in the back of the net. And he's the sort of player that I think's been getting if you believe in social media and you talk on social media, etc., he's the sort of player that seems to be getting a bit of a hard time. But how can you give a guy a hard time when he doesn't get the service or he's not getting game time? But he's the sort of player, in my opinion, that needs to play 90 minutes, because when you get those 1 or 2 chances, he will put them away.
And absolutely, I completely agree.
And if he had started that game today, would that have been different with 2 or 3 of the chances that have been put in front of him? Possibly. We can't guarantee it, but possibly. And it's really frustrating.
No, Yeah, absolutely. I completely agree with that. I think we need to start Chichani. He needs to be, those chances that will come up, more than likely he's going to hit the target. Whether he scores or not. But when he came on against Arsenal, he had his first or second touch. He hit the target. Okay, it was very unlucky that he didn't score, but he hit the target, and that's what we need. Somebody who's rusty, who can come on, half a chance and hit the target, and 5 times out of 10 he's going to score a goal.
Exactly, and he's got the pedigree. So for me, as I said in the review we did in the week, I was so disappointed because for me I felt like he was going to get unleashed with Arnautovic. Now I understand that Lanzini was missing, and that was going to be a big miss for the team today, but I still think we had enough in the tank to be able to change that, to be able to play players in position, to be able to take advantage of what. I mean, you're talking about a Newcastle team that was on a downward spiral, that weren't scoring goals, that were conceding goals. And you're talking about a West Ham team that were on the upward spiral, that were scoring goals and not conceding goals, and we've just completely fell apart today. So we've come into the second half. I mean, do you know what? You touched on it earlier on, so may as well. Arnautovic can hold his head up high. I mean, again, rate his performance for me, Alf.
Well, I'm a hard marker anyway, but I would say a good 7 out of 10 for me. I think he was isolated a lot of the time. He drifted in and out of the match, but then when he did receive the ball, he was trying to beat players. He was trying to create. He even turned provider a couple of times with a couple of passes as well. Absolutely. And it was almost like he received the ball on the right hand side, and he said, "Right, this is how you put a cross in."
Absolutely.
And it's just like, and he did it in the first half for the Antonio missed header. I'm pretty sure it was Arnie cross, and he did it again in the second half. But it's again, he is just one man. If he doesn't get the service, then you're relying on him to create his own chances. And he had that one effort, that, where he beat about 3 or 4 players, and he came in on his left foot, and it just. You could see he wanted what he was trying to do. Bless him, he was trying to curl it in, the far post. It just didn't, went a couple of feet wide. But he's our best player right now.
Yeah, I mean, what a change in his ability to play. Like what a change man! What a change man from the minute we signed him to now. And I mean, there was one particular thing in the second half where the ball was in the corner, and I think it was going out, and he absolutely, his pace, he's fast, and he chased the ball down right in the corner, going out. It was going out for Newcastle for a throw in, and he chased it, and he won a free kick out of absolutely nothing. He didn't even need to make the effort to run, and I tell you what, the old Arnautovic wouldn't have done it, but he did. So I've got to give him plaudits. I've actually got to give him plaudits. But then, do you know what? Let's discuss Zabaleta. It's something I'm interested about just now. Great start to the season, but for me, past couple of games, or the past maybe 6 or 7 games, I don't think he's been performing to what he did when he started. The biggest thing I'm noticing though is he's jumping in for the ball and he's getting caught out too far up the park.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts?
I agree. I think he's had a couple of really good performances. Not the last performance, but the 2 before were really great. Before that, he had a string of poor performances, and today I thought he was jumping in and he was getting caught out quite a lot.
Yeah.
And I think it's almost, he's playing that right wing back position now that they've asked him, that Moyes is asking him to play, and I think he's almost forgetting about his defensive. Positioning and his setup play, and he's almost like, right, okay, I've got to get defensive and put the tackle in high up the field, when actually he should be just watching the play and the old jockey in position out to the far side. Yeah,
and that's something that I think again I'm starting to really worry about that side, because I do think the opposition teams are coming down and attacking it, although controversially they seem to attack the left hand side where Cresswell was in the first half, but they absolutely maximised the right hand side with Zabaleta in the second half, because he was running in and jumping into tackles, and when he was at Manchester City he was able to do that because they had a team around him to be able to clear up the mess, but unfortunately I still think we've got that. So then it came to the goal. Ayew, he nutmegged Zabaleta. Fair play to him. He crossed the ball over to Diame, and to be honest, I think Newcastle players were lining up, and Diame put the ball into the top corner.
It was an easy goal. It was an easy goal.
And fair play to Diame. I think he got a bit of a hard time by the fans coming to the end of his West Ham career, so he didn't celebrate that much. So
I agree.
It doesn't bother me if they celebrate, to be honest. Why not? Like, but fair play, he didn't do it.
Well, I think it shows a respect, to your former team. I think, I think if it's against a team you really don't like, fair enough. If it's against your team, show a bit of respect, I think. But it was a goal that was coming, and
it was.
Again, you could see it happening, and you think, right, any minute now that we're going to concede, and it happened. So no surprise.
Antonio brought down just outside or inside the penalty box. What's your call for the penalty?
Oh, do you know, it's so close, and you got to feel for the referee and the linesman here, because I think that's a tough call to make. I think it's just outside.
Yeah.
I think it is.
Yeah.
I think it is. I think the initial contact is literally just outside, and then as they're sliding over the line, that's when the momentum takes Antonio over. But if I got to say, if I got to stand up in a court of law, I would say that's outside.
And I think that's 2 weeks in a row we've had a bit of luck our way, and I'm really worried that two bad things have happened from it. Well, we never won this game, and obviously Lanzini got banned from the last one, even though we did win the game. So let's just hope the next luck comes our ways for an actual victory as well. So, this is the interesting thing. And sorry to interrupt about the penalty. So the penalty, okay, we got the penalty, fine. I don't know why Ayew's taken that penalty. I know that's where I was going to go. Yeah,
not when he was just stood there, and I was thinking, and he was staring at the ball, and I'm thinking, right, he's going into meditation phase here. He's going to psych out the keeper.
Yeah.
And then I thought, all I could think of is, why isn't Arnie taking this? Taking this penalty.
Yeah.
He's the one who's got the confidence. He's got the swagger right now.
Yeah.
To be put that ball right in the back of the net.
Absolutely.
Why are you taking it? Couldn't understand it.
Yeah, no, I think to be honest, most West Ham fans were probably looking at that situation going, the informed, the most confident player on the park, bury that. Do you know what? See, at that time, you need to bury that. We're 2-1 down. We're in the second half.
Yeah.
And he did look focused, but it was a terrible penalty because he didn't even hit the corner. So Rob Elliott, who's not the greatest of keepers, didn't really have a lot to do. He literally dived, and the ball landed pretty much within his palm area. He probably could have held it, but he was probably so shocked at how shit the penalty was. So then we had a few changes. Carroll came on, and then we all knew what was going to happen from that moment onwards. Which, do you know what? Like, you can't deny the fact. I mean, because in theory he set up the goal. He set up the goal for Ayew. But before that, the third goal that comes in from Newcastle starts from a Cresswell corner, and he doesn't get by the first man. And it's the biggest frustration, I think, in football, and the biggest thing when coaches and managers are always talking. Unless a player blatantly at the front post, unmarked, you get that ball into the penalty box or into the penalty spot or on the 6-yard line, somewhere away from the keeper. But he didn't even do that, and it got to the first man, they cleared it, and bang, they went on and scored a goal, make it 3-1 Newcastle. What were your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I think the frustrating thing for me is that when we're under a bit of pressure, we kind of revert back to type, and the type is that until before Moyes came along, Cresswell couldn't put a pass in, and he couldn't take a corner, and he wasn't never clearing the first man. So now we're under a bit of pressure, and then the same thing happened again. He couldn't get a ball in. When it really mattered, so, and then afterwards, it's almost like, if you notice, a lot of the crosses that were coming in afterwards, that were coming in really high. There was overcompensating, for trying to beat the first man. So, and then they scored, the counter attack play, and we looked dead on our feet there, running back, and it was just, kind of easy for them then, really, wasn't it? It was.
I mean, Carroll pretty much got half an hour run out, and it was just long ball for the rest of the game. Yeah. I mean, I don't know. Like, I think if you're losing, of course you're losing 3-1. You're gonna try everything you possibly can. And for me, Chicharito coming on was a bit too late.
Yeah.
Again, disappointed. For me, he should have started. So for me, he's always going to be too late. But you know what? We got the goal back, and then we put a little bit of pressure on. But we never looked like we're going to score. Newcastle probably deserved the victory today.
Yeah.
Can't take much away from them.
Absolutely. I thought from the first half, I thought they were the much better team, and we had our chances. Of course we did, and they had lots of chances. But I think overall, the way they were playing, they played better than us. As simple as that. They had more dynamic play. better link-up play, better counter-attacking play. The passing was overall better. You know, there was that period at the end of the first half and the beginning of the second half where actually it was a bit of a dull game, really. There wasn't a lot of quality from either side. But then the second half came on and we had Carroll come on. You can understand why, because we needed a bit of momentum, you know, a bit of impetus up front. But then we had a poor midfield, so I can kind of understand, you know, why Moyes did it. And this is what I was asking in the week: will Moyes be able to change tactics, you know, halfway through a game if things aren't going right? And he did, but it's one-dimensional, and we know exactly what's going to happen. We're just going to kick the ball long. But you know, Carroll was, again, he was almost going towards the edge of the 18-yard box and trying to get that, you know, head the ball back in. So it wasn't really in the danger area all the time. You know,
I find it really frustrating because if you think about our players, like you've got Carroll, Sacco, this is up front, I'm referencing here, Chicharito, Arnie, Ayew. I've never really seen, or these players have never really been given an opportunity. We've never seen the players we want to see together play. So I want to see Arnautovic and Hernandez play together because for me personally, I think they would complement each other. And in theory, I think Chicharito and Carroll could complement each other to a certain extent.
I agree.
With the knock-on ball, the option there for that thing, but it never seems to happen because we either we play a player out of position, which, to be honest, I cannot be bothered watching that anymore. I can't be bothered watching a player play out of position. Just, you know what, we've got three strikers were sitting on the bench today. And we started with Antonio up front. Like, for that straight away is a negative for me, and I didn't like that.
Yeah, absolutely.
But you know what? I don't want to get. I've seen a lot of stuff branding around Twitter, and we're going off our nuts and stuff. And is there positives to take today, Alf?
Well, I think there are. I mean, I kind of. I'd always say that Masuaku, the last sort of 4 or 5 matches, has been playing really well. But I have a word of caution really for Masuaku as well, because although he's great and you know great at dribbling, but I think, well, what's the plan? What's the plan with your running, with your dribbling? Sometimes I sometimes feel that he's dribbling just for dribbling's sake, and he wants to, you know, just get down the byline or. And if you notice, every time he was receiving the ball on the left-hand side, he's so left-side dependent. You can actually just knock to your right foot and just, you know, put a cross in with your right foot. And it's almost like he's closing off his own angle just by keeping it on his left-hand side. So, you know, I would say that's a positive for us in the general Masuaku play. But, you know, there's a little bit of difference. I think it highlights the lack of depth that we have in our squad when we're playing like this.
Absolutely.
We have Noble Lanzini out. If we have a problem with Zabaleta on the right hand side, we got nobody to replace him right now. And I suppose, you know, this, you know, you have to start talking about transfers, you know, in January and who potentially we could bring in. You know, positives, I think Arnautovic is still doing great. I think basically our back three, you know, Craswell, Ogbonna and Reed. Do you know what, Reed? I wasn't too sure about Reed today. I thought he made a couple of mistakes here and there, and I thought he was labouring a lot. So I'm not sure whether Reed should be given a break and let Collins come in, Ginge come in.
Because I think this one could generate definitely a good debate. But for me personally, I think Reed has been carrying Ogbonna most of the season, whereas Ogbonna has finally kind of found a bit of form, although today I felt like a few times, because I feel like because I'm so negative about Ogbonna, I tend to watch Ogbonna a lot more than I do any of the other central defensive matchups, and I feel like today again he was starting to drift out and getting caught off guard, and for the Newcastle goal in the first half, in the second half or the third half, he was out of position again, and I always feel like Reed always has to clear up a lot of the mess. But I'm not going to get carried away because, again, he proved me wrong, because in the second half there was a great opportunity for Newcastle. He could have brought the Newcastle player down, handled it perfectly, took the ball off the player, passed it back, and it was great. So I'm not going to look at Ogbonna too much just yet, because I have been giving him a really hard time most of the season. But Winston Reid, I mean, I think he's our kind of catalyst defender at the back. He's strong, he's dependable, and he does. I mean, he does put his body on the line for our club, and I love to see that. And I think maybe there's probably if we've got some fit players back now, we've got Declan Rice there as well. If it means that a player needs that one game off, especially in a kind of busy schedule, then let's look at that. But I do worry, because I'm worried that, like what you said, we don't have the strength and depth, and Kouyaté is just a shadow of his former self. Like,
yeah, absolutely.
I can't.
Absolutely. I think what I said earlier on is that I'm not at the point I was a few weeks ago, where I was pulling what little hair I have left out, berating the players because of the lack of dedication or commitment or determination. I don't see that. I'm not seeing that yet. What I'm seeing is, overall, is a team that because we haven't got the central midfield sorted out, we're showing a lack of quality, and that is kind of is spreading out, radiating out from the central midfield, because we haven't got Noble and Lanzini in there. We got Obiang and Kouyaté, who basically just they're just not controlling, they're not bossing the central midfield, and and we're not really protecting our defence either.
Yeah.
And I just got to say this, because we haven't mentioned Adrian, right? Okay, so Hart has been getting pelters for the last few weeks, since Adrian's come in, and then he got pelters again in midweek. And I've always said this about Hart, is that actually you've got to look at the way we were playing before Moyes came in. The way we were playing, we were really poor defensively, really poor midfield, and that's why we were letting in all the goals. As soon as Adrian came in, we actually started playing better defensively, therefore that's why he's not letting in all the goals. Guess what? Today, we start playing poor defensively in midfield.
That's a valid point.
And he lets in 3 goals. So...
yeah.
Well, who's the better goalkeeper now? Is Hart the all singing, dancing goalkeeper, or is or is Adrian? I think they're about the same.
Yeah, I think we are in a situation where it is tough. Like, and a lot of fans are probably going to come on a bit of a backlash here. But at the beginning of the season, particularly, even up until maybe about 4 or 5 games ago, maybe 6 games ago, had always said that Hart can only do or can only protect what's in front of him, and what was in front of him at the first start of the season wasn't great. The players, the defenders. I'll always stick up for Reid, because I think Reid at that time was actually covering the whole of the defence, Hart probably wasn't making mistakes. And I think really what happened was the Hart incident at Everton, conceding 4 goals. Things needed to change. He made a few mistakes. It probably didn't help the matter. And then Adrian's come in. They're boosting a bit of confidence. But today, it's gone back to. It's gone back to the pot again, and how can you defend that? Because if you think about the free kick that Newcastle scored, it was a great free kick, but Adrian was out of position. It was down at his bottom right, and would have Hart saved that? There's a strong possibility Hart could have maybe got to that. I'm not going to make that big bold statement, because they always say Hart's problem was on his left, not on his right, and but I do think we've definitely got a few issues in the defensive.
I think the key thing is that every keeper, no matter who they are, at some point they're going to have a bad game, and they're going to let goals in, and they're going to make mistakes. So I think a good defence protects the keeper, but also a good keeper controls the 18-yard box. Supports the defence as well, and obviously can pull off great saves every now and again as well. But the reality is, as we all know, that if you're one-on-one with a keeper, it's really in the favour of the striker to score a goal, not the keeper. So
absolutely. Listen, we've had a comment there from Gary Cray on YouTube saying we can't win without a striker. It's simple as that. Like, if we don't play strikers up top, like, we're not the Barcelonas of the world, we're not the Liverpool even of the world, because Liverpool can play that false 9 and play with Sané and Salah and all their players, but we don't have that ability. So for me, we just need to play with forwards up front, and while we've got a player of Arnautovic's confidence, it's oozing out of him, we need to maximise this. This is where West Ham really frustrate all us fans. We've got a couple of players sitting there that have got really good ability. One is particularly in form. Let's play up to that. Let's play up to that. Feed him the ball as much as he possibly can, because he wants the ball. He's hungry, and that's how we're going to progress.
I think if for the next match, I think we got a couple of problems. If we don't, we'll get Lanzini back. It depends how fit he is, and it depends. I'm not sure what the latest is on Noble and on his strain. But if we get those 2 back, then we can actually boss that midfield again, I would like to see an Arnautovic and Chicharito, as a 2 up front, or Absolutely. A 1-1 up front. If Noble and Lanzini aren't back, I'm going to make a bit of a bold statement. I'd like to see an Arnautovic come back into midfield, because I think he's the only one who's showing some class and being able to. He'll actually provide some link-up play from the holding midfielders and then into the forward attack.
Yeah, and that's something that we are missing, and I think that's something hopefully we're going to address in the January transfer window, because we definitely don't have that link-up play between the two, and we're relying so much on Lanzini since Payet's gone. It's just crazy. And the guy can only do so much. So when he has maybe the odd bad game, everyone goes nuts at him, but you can't, because the guy's been carrying the team for such a long time.
So, absolutely. And it's the same with Noble. Everybody's getting on his case, at the end of last season and beginning of this season. They said, well, actually, and I was kind of one of the detractors, really. I said, look, if he's not in form, he's not playing well, then we shouldn't be playing him. We shouldn't be playing players who are out of form. But to his credit, he's come back and he's fantastic. And I always said, what a leader, what a great, this is the Noble that we know and love, the last few matches. And we desperately need him back. We need that Noble back. We don't need the Noble who, wasn't performing before.
Absolutely.
And you just hope that all the players, they know what the plan is, know what the tactics are, and they're able to execute it, as opposed to kind of running around. And then, lots of periods in that match we are kind of reverted back to, not really having a clue,
and
the players sort of lost focus,
and they do, and I think that's the problem again with our side. Like, they do lose focus really easily and their heads go down really strong. But then, like you said, there was effort there. Like, it wasn't like we completely gave up. They were showing the effort, but to be beaten 3-2 by Newcastle after coming off a 3-0 loss earlier in the season at home, we had the momentum. They were on a downward spiral. It's frustrating. It's not nice to take. It's Christmas time. All we wanted was 3 points. Not to ho, Merry Christmas, West Ham, Merry Christmas. But I suppose that brings us to the kind of end of the Newcastle review. We've got Bournemouth coming up. We'll do a preview of that and hopefully have that out at some point. Listen, we know you're busy, we know everyone's busy and stuff like that watching it, so we know people maybe won't watch YouTube. But Alf, before you go, have you got any other last points you want to make?
No, I just looking forward to Boxing Day and seeing how Moyes can G up the lads, really. And I'll be really interested to see what formation he comes out with, because I like to see what formations, how the individual players, but I really want to see what's going on in the middle of the park. And I just pray that he doesn't play Antonio. This is not a personal attack on Antonio. I just don't think he's suited, for that role that he's being asked to do right now. I just hope he plays Arnie and Chicha up front.
I suppose what I'll add to that as well, Alf, is I genuinely do feel sorry for Antonio. I do, because I think that it's cases last year. He was by far our best player. He gives absolutely everything. But how many games has he played out of position for our club? And when you're playing out of position, whether you're performing or not, like if you're constantly doing it, like he's not a striker, he's not a right back. Play him to his advantage. Now, do you know what? If it means that he's going to get a rest and he's not going to play for a couple of weeks, it doesn't do any professional any harm to be rested, because you've actually been knocked off your peg, because it means that players are challenging for a position.
And also have him as a sub. I'm not saying take him out the game at all. I'm just saying have him as a sub, as an impact sub. 20 minutes to go, bring on the ball, bring him on, and let's see what he can do. But to start the game, no, I think we should give Chicha and Arnie a go now. Definitely.
Well, Alf, thanks for coming on tonight. Hopefully we'll have you back on another show in the future. So listen, get your comments in, subscribe to our channel. I'll put all our links to the Twitter, etc. on the bottom. And come on, you Irons. Listen, before we go, Merry Christmas as well to all you West Ham fans.
Cheers.
Take care.